Welcome to Central Georgia, home of some of the most avid whitetail hunters in the nation, and home to a burgeoning deer herd. This southern state is a whitetail destination for thousands of hunters each year, but the local hunting population will usually have a corner on the hot spots. Meet Tanner Edenfield. There's really no other way to put this. Tanner is a whitetail junkie.
You know, that's kind of a cliche. You hear a lot of people say that, but I literally live to deer hunt.
This is a kid who started bow hunting at like age 6 and killed his first deer with one at 12.
Absolutely obsessed with deer. Just can't get enough of it. I mean, especially bow hunting.
But it isn't just about whitetails. He also chases wild hogs with, wait for it, a spear. His native state of Georgia offers plenty of hunting opportunities.
I mean, like I said, I spend a little over 100 days a year in the woods.
But he also doesn't stop at the Georgia line.
This past year I went to Ohio, Kansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee. There's nothing that I love more than the challenge of playing that chess match with a big buck and trying to figure out what he's gonna do and where you need to be to get him.
In addition to putting in all those hunting hours, Tanner is learning the art of self-filming, and he's invited us along on his home patch here in Georgia.
So I wasn't able to make anything happen on a buck for like the first month and a half of the Georgia season, but you know, every year about late October, things start getting right and bucks start looking for does and everything. So I kind of felt confident going into that last week of October. It was like 40 acres, not far outside the city limits, and I'd written a letter and gotten permission there. And it's just kind of a perfect access point. You can get in there without leaving a whole lot of a scent trail and not making much noise. I knew it was about time for bucks to be bumping does. I'd gotten pictures of a few bucks I'd never seen before, so I was really liking my chances.
Well, I'm settled in. I got a guy building a deck behind me, but these are what I'd call kind of semi-urban deer. They got a lot of blocks of woods, but they're on the edge of neighborhoods, so they got plenty of room to run, but they're kind of used to people, I guess you'd say. Had 4 or 5 bucks I've never seen show up last night, so maybe something good will cruise through this afternoon. I've got corn out and a bunch of scrapes.
Hadn't been long and a doe comes out and I'm watching her and I'm like, man, I better shoot her. You know, it'd be cool to shoot 2 in one day because I shot a doe that morning too. So I get stood up. I mean, I'm, you know, getting ready to draw back on her and I hear something else coming. I said, well, I better wait and see what that is. And finally he comes out behind this bush and I can see it's a buck and I'm like, dang, that's a good buck. You know, I can see he's outside the ears and I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't shoot that doe.
Well, I think I nailed him. Oh my God, I'm pretty sure I just nailed a big 10-pointer. Oh, I don't know. I heard a crack, but I think I saw it nail him right in the center of the body. Oh, they're about 35 yards. Yes.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Browning Trail Cameras, by Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker, by Sever Broadheads, straight through it. and by Remington, America's oldest gunmaker. When we return.
Another little buck came in after a while, and I'm kind of watching him, and then a doe comes in, and I was like, well, man, it'd be awesome to shoot 3 deer in one day.
This is Destination Whitetail. Welcome back to Destination Whitetail, where Tanner Edenfield has put a shot on a buck with his Matthews.
Oh, I think I nailed him. Oh my God, I'm pretty sure I just nailed a big 10-pointer.
Having heard the buck crash and possessing multiple tags, Tanner decides to continue sitting for a bit before getting down.
And another little buck came in after a while, and I'm kind of watching him, and then a doe comes in, and I was like, well, man, it'd be awesome to shoot 3 deer in one day. I get stood up, and I'm drawing back on this doe, and I hear down at the bottom, brrr. I'm like, what? I better wait and see what this is, you know? This buck pops out and kind of following her, and it's a real nice wide 8-pointer, and he gets up there at about 45 yards, and I shoot. At the time, I wasn't sure if I hit him or not, so I get down and look at my arrows, and of course my first arrow's got good blood on it.
So then the first one, got white hair. It's covered in blood though. Let's see if I hit with this one. Questionable.
And the second arrow is nothing.
I think that's a no-go.
So then I went back and checked the footage, and I knew for sure that I missed. Well, we found him. He ran maybe 100 yards. I backed out just to play it safe because I heard a loud crack, and it looked like to me it hit him behind the shoulder, but thinking I heard that crack made me think I might have hit the shoulder. So I said, well, I better back out and go home and look at the footage, and sure enough, footage showed it hit him right behind the shoulder. So we come back and picked up the trail, and you know, blood didn't start for maybe 25 yards, and once it started, boy, it was going. I mean, he was just bleeding like a fountain, but you know, I was just in there and had a doe come out. I'm watching her, and man, I'm thinking about shooting her, thinking about shooting her, and I go to get stood up. I'm gonna shoot her, and I hear footsteps, and all of a sudden this buck walks in. I'm like, well, dang, I guess I'll shoot him. Got to experience the hunt and got plenty of season left to chase another one. I knew it'd be a little bit of a drag, so I called a buddy of mine and got him out there with me. All right, I think rather than dragging him back uphill the way he run, I think if I drag him straight down and take him down that sewer line, probably get my 4-wheeler in here and get him. So hopefully we can get this deer out of here.
Here's a scenario all too familiar to Tanner and do-it-yourself hunters everywhere.
Like this all looks the same. You get dragging yourself in a circle out here and get lost. Then we had to drag him a good little ways to get to where I could get my 4-wheeler. Then I got him on the 4-wheeler and got him out of there.
Once that buck is on the ground, the fun really begins.
Oh my God, how that deer ran out of ball, you know? Oh, my knife's falling, everything I got is falling off.
You want me to help you?
I want my knife.
Then you'll be able to run from
What just fell? What's all falling? That's good, man. Very good.
Let's hope the rifle season offers Tanner some easier access.
It's like it just picks and chooses. All right, hold on. Don't leave the deer.
Coming up.
Well, finally, right at the end of the season, we got a cold snap coming in. And I knew that cold snap was going to be a factor as far as getting big bucks on their feet.
When Destination Whitetail returns. Antler King, makers of the world's best food plot products, providing the highest protein and the most tonnage. But most importantly, deer love Antler King food plots.
Back.
Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer. This shooting lane is brought to you by Tanner Edenfield. Tanner's doing what we all do come rifle season. He's waiting out the deer. He has a good reason for sitting here. His trail cam has been teasing him with this mature 11 point and this massive 16 here on his home patch in Georgia.
So last summer I wrote some letters and actually ended up finding a place to lease off of there, and it was 350 acres. And there was two really nice deer on there. There was a nice 11 pointer and a 16 pointer. The 16 pointer immediately just consumed me. I mean, I spent all deer season pretty much hunting that deer, and although the 11 pointer was actually pretty visible early season, in fact I filmed them before season even started, I didn't really focus on them because I didn't want to mess up the area where I was hunting the 16 pointer. Sometime right around Christmas, that 16 pointer ended up shedding, and you know, that made me shift my focus over to this 11 pointer. Kind of knew what he was doing. I'd got some pictures of him with mud up to his knee, and that kind of told me he was living on the other side of this slough back in the swamp. Well, finally, right at the end of the season, we got a cold snap coming in, and I knew that cold snap was going to be a factor as far as getting big bucks on their feet. Maybe 75 yards from where I'd been seeing him come through, and you know, sure enough, I have a small buck and a doe come out first, and I'll probably watch them for like 45 minutes. Then after a while, the buck I'd been hunting all year that I couldn't get a shot at with antlers comes out. I'm thinking, man, why couldn't he have done that when he had antlers? So anyway, after the 16 with no antlers leaves, the doe comes out, and I can see her staring off in through the woods. She wasn't acting like she was spooked, she was acting like there was a buck there. After a while, I can see him standing on the edge of my lane, and he just sits there, and finally he goes to ease through, and he comes in, he's actually facing me, and he gives me kind of a 1/4 2 shot. I put that crosshair right at the front of his chest, and I pulled that trigger. And I'm like, dang, what happened? I don't see him run off, I don't see him. I'm looking through the scope, I don't see nothing. I pick my head out of the scope, and I see him laying there, and I'm just like, wow, man, I freak out, you know.
Man, I just killed a big old 11 pointer. Had 3 days left in season. I thought I was gonna go home empty-handed, son. Yes! Look at that deer right there. Holy crap. Look at that deer right there, son.
I tell people, man, late season, people just don't understand. I was getting kind of worried because it was getting down to the wire, but year after year, this last week of season, man, these big bucks just get on their feet. And I mean, I still got 30 minutes of daylight. He wasn't sure about coming in. He stayed here and stared at these does. 3 days of season left, and I made it happen.
where he fell is probably almost half a mile from where I can get my truck, so I guess I'm gonna head to the house and grab my four-wheeler and come back. Sun, look at that beautiful sunset. Man, I was worried it wasn't gonna happen for me. Anyway, we're gonna get the process started of trying to get him out of here. Got about a half a mile from between here and the truck. Went home, got the four-wheeler, but got me a nice little Georgia 11 pointer. He's a mainframe 10 with a little kicker right here. So guess we're gonna get started with the work.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by the Burris Oracle Laser Range-Finding Bow Sight. Burris, find what matters. By Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. By 10-Point Crossbow Technologies. There is no substitute. Get armed and deadly with Easton FMJ arrows. And by Matthews Archery. Coming up, it's Deer Tech TV, when Destination Whitetail returns. This is Deer Tech TV, the best in outdoor technology, powered by Browning Trail Cameras.
Today we're looking at the Recon Force Advantage from Browning Trail Cameras. This thing is loaded with features that'll help you scout anytime, anywhere. This camera features an adjustable detection range from 55 feet to 80 feet and 3 adjustable infrared flash modes for optimum picture control at night. Another great feature is the built-in 2-inch color display to preview images and videos right in the field. The Recon Force Advantage also features the highest quality 20 megapixel pictures in 1920 by 1080 full HD video quality in either 30 or 60 frames per second for the most incredible video clips of game on your property. Additional features for this model include smart infrared video, which continues to record video footage while game is moving in front of the camera, and SD card management options, which allow you to overwrite older images on the SD card if the memory is full. We're setting up the camera here. It's a good spot. We already have a stand behind us. There's a good travel corridor going here out to a field. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we are facing a direction that the sun is not rising or setting. So west is this way, east is this way. The camera's facing directly south. That way when the sun rises or sets, the camera's not facing directly into the sun and you don't get those washed out pictures at the times when most of the deer activity is. One more thing before we're done here. When the camera's all set, we're gonna spray it all down to eliminate all that extra human scent. And then you're good to go for when you come back to check it in a week or two.
Hey, I'm Joe Lassiter with Hunter Safety System. I'd like to show you some new stuff we have coming out this year for this season. We haven't made a lot of changes this year, but we're going with a mesh material this year. It's going to be a lot lighter, about 14% lighter on our harnesses. It's really lightweight, breathable, and we're excited to get this out there and just a lot more comfortable for the hunters out there. We'll be offering this in different camouflage. It does come with a limit shield. It's the only scent controlled harness on the market. We'll have a limit shield on pretty much all of our harnesses this year, so that's another thing we're going to. We made it available last year on one harness, but we have got it on everything this year, so we're really excited to bring out a limit shield on our harnesses. But mainly the mesh material, people always like a lighter weight, breathable harnesses, so we're excited to put it on most every harness we have now. You can reach us at huntersafetysystem.com.
You know, Brad, I go on all these hunts, I get my broadheads out of the clamshell. When it's time to go home, I never know what to do with them. I think maybe we've come up with something good. What have you done in the past?
Well, the most economical and ineffective way to store broadheads is in a zipper bag. But you can imagine what broadhead
that's
than
less
plastic.
than ideal.
Yeah.
It'll work, but it's less than ideal. This is the new Sever broadhead case. You know, Sever, we sell them in these individual tubes. You can take them out. They come with O-rings and set screws. But what's great about these is when you're done, you can actually put them right back into those tubes, and back they go in these little cases.
Protected just like they came from the factory.
Yeah, so great solution. Is awesome, and they'll stay put. It'll hold 12, and then it's also got this little zippered pouch, so If you want to put O-rings or some field points in there, extra O-ring set screws, those will go right in there and stay secure. And these are being sold on the Sever website, severbroadheads.com. Go take a look. It's the new broadhead case from Sever.